BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Big Country Preps Wednesday night podcast, our weekly look at the area athletic scene, what happened last week, and what's going on this week. I'm here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight, Dan, we've got two guests. We've got Jayton boys basketball coach Ryan Bleiker and Benjamin basketball coach Wesley Rigdon, both of whom are going to be taking their teams to the Class 1A state tournament in San Antonio this week.
Yeah, I'm excited about this podcast this week. We've got two coaches that just have done a tremendous job all year long, but whose teams had really impressive showings at their region tournaments last year. Jayton making its run through Region 1, Benjamin through Region 2, both looking really impressive in that process. And now they've got an opportunity to go and continue their season at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. So, there's no greater venue as a high school basketball player or coach. So it's going to be fun to see kind of what these two teams can do. They've been a lot of fun to follow, and that should continue at state with a couple of big matchups.
And before we jump into this week's show, we want to thank some of our sponsors, beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That's For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a vehicle, new or used, give Rob a shout. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Call him at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. All right, and with that, before we get started, we want to remind you that on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It's free on YouTube. And when you do that, also hit that little bell, which will send you notifications every time we come up with a new podcast here on YouTube.
Yeah, and make sure you do that because we have new guests every week. We're wrapping up basketball season. We're about to jump headlong into baseball, softball, and track. Have a lot of coaches from around the area for our podcasts from those sports as well as we round out this school year. So, yeah, make sure you do that. These are a lot of times just really interesting conversations with some really successful coaches and some people who are doing some really neat things around the area. So you'll definitely want to catch these podcasts every week.
All right, and with that, Dan, it's an exciting week for Big Country basketball. We got a couple of 1A teams going down to San Antonio for the state semifinals. We've got Jayton taking on McMullen County. We've got Benjamin facing Grayford. If they both win, then that sets up an all Big Country state championship final if they both can win, and that'll be set for Saturday morning at 8:30.
Yeah, that would be absolutely huge. And obviously those are going to be tough matchups when you get to the state tournament. You're always facing tough matchups, but in these cases in particular, Jayton, which has been ranked number 2 behind Grayford pretty much all year, they're facing a McMullen County team that's just one spot behind them, and number 3 has only lost a couple of games this year as well. These are two very, very good 1A basketball teams. And on the other side, you've got Benjamin facing the defending state champion Grayford team that I think most people kind of still view as the favorite to repeat. This is a team with a 6'8" post, a really good guard play, very good sound defensive team. But if you're Benjamin, you got to look at what you did in your region tournament and be pretty excited about that opportunity. There were a lot of people that didn't think that they'd get through either Erie County or Garden City, and they really kind of took it to both of those teams. So this Benjamin team is really kind of the surprise of this bracket. But if you look at what that team did during football season and the athletes they've got on their team, you're not necessarily surprised by it. But there are a lot of people that really underestimated this Benjamin team. And it's going to be fun seeing that team, which finished the regular season ranked number 19, very, very undervalued, clearly. It's going to be fun to see what they can do against the defending state champion and what I think is probably the favorite in this tournament in Grayford.
Well, Grayford is definitely, they're state champions for a reason. They're ranked number 1 for a reason, but I still put guard play ahead of post play, especially at the 1A level. I think that post play can be a little bit overrated. And I think that if Benjamin can outplay them in the backcourt, and they are equipped to do so, we know that with the Rigdon kid. If you can outplay the opposition in the backcourt, you can render a large post moot. It just depends on how well that Grayford backcourt matches up with Rigdon. And so far, nobody has been able to do it.
Yeah, and I think the thing about this Grayford team is that it's really, really well coached, really, really sound. their guards do a good job of doing just their jobs, doing what they're supposed to do, getting the ball up the court, getting the ball where it needs to be. And the one thing with Roberts in the post that makes him so tough is he gets a lot of points off putback. So they can throw up jump shots, and he's going to be the guy that cleans those up, gets a lot of points. My dad was actually out there for the Region 1 tournament covering that for us. And the thing that he said is the kid's just capable of scoring a very quiet 24 points. And by the time you look at the stat sheet, you realize he made a massive impact. So, this Grayford team, obviously with any 1A team with a 6'8" kid that's as talented as Roberts is, it has a big advantage. But you are right. They're going to have to be able to get the ball down the court, and they're going to have to be able to slow down Grayson Rigdon on the other end of the court. And the thing that I think is really interesting about this matchup is it's really kind of a contrasting styles, two teams that want to do kind of completely different things. When you look at Benjamin, they want to get the ball up and down the court, turn this into a track meet, whereas Grayford is more wanting to get this into the half court game to where their posts can make a bigger impact. So it's going to be kind of fun, I think, to see which team is able to kind of set the tone and get this game kind of going in the direction they want it to, because both teams have very different goals, I think, going into it.
Well, the other side of the bracket, Jayton against McMullen County. It's also a contrast in styles. McMullen County, according to Coach Ryan Bleiker, they are masters at a zone trap, and they're very difficult to deal with. And Jayton is going to have to find a way to break that trap, not turn the ball over, which is that's their bread and butter. Low turnovers, excellent defense. So McMullen County's gonna be trying to take them out of that, force them into a bunch of turnovers. And I think that's really that's where the battle lines are drawn. Can Jayton handle that trap? And if they do, if they play the same kind of defense that they've been playing, I like their chances.
One thing I think is going to be neat about this matchup is that this Jayton team, maybe more so than others in the past, and they've had some really good teams in the past, obviously. They've had multiple teams go down to state, but maybe more than those teams in the past. This one's maybe, I think, more equipped to get up and down the court and take advantage. If you aren't able to get that trap quick enough, they're able to exploit that and get down there for a layup. I think this team can do maybe a little bit more in the transition game than maybe some of their other teams have been able to in the past. And then obviously it's got some size to it, which we talked about last time when we had Coach Bleiker on. This Jayton team has some pretty serious size for a 1A team that maybe they can use that as well in the half court. So I like this Jayton team. I've liked them all year long, but this is going to be a really tough test for them with this McMullen County team.
Indeed, it will be. You ready to bring on the real experts, Coach Bleiker and Coach Rigdon?
Yeah, it looks like both of them are ready, so let's go ahead and get them on.
And joining us now, Jayton boys basketball coach Ryan Bleiker and Benjamin boys basketball coach Wes Rigdon, both of whom are down in San Antonio coaching their teams in the 1A state semifinals. Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to join us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Coach Bleiker, we'll go ahead and start with you. You had a team that all year long people were saying they're going to go to San Antonio. They're going to San Antonio, and I was one of those guys that were saying it. You had to feel some pressure because a lot of people were saying this. How big of a disappointment would it have been for you had you not been there or made it?
Yeah. I don't. We like I said a lot. We really just go week by week, day by day, practice by practice, and it's incredibly cliche, and I don't love cliches, but we really do. We've been to the regional tournament a lot and lost, and thought we should have been in a state tournament. And, we don't really view the season as a success or not success based on getting to the state tournament or what, because really the younger me would have. The older me kind of enjoys the moments a little bit more than what I used to, and enjoys the time with the kids and all of us together. So I don't think it'd be a disappointment if we wouldn't have made it. And honest, and this is 100% truth, that we never really felt any pressure. Basketball is such a crazy sport that you can get beat at any time, and especially Region 1 and Region 2, they're both really good. So never really felt any pressure. And I'm afraid if I felt pressure, then that would show off on the kids, and then they would feel pressure and they wouldn't play well. So we just really try to be as loose as we can be.
And then Coach Rigdon, you look at that bracket, you got numbers 1, number 2, number 3, and then y'all who are kind of the surprise, but probably not locally. I think you guys always kind of knew what y'all were capable of, but even talking to some of the other coaches in y'all's own region, they said, I think Erie County is still the favorite, and y'all go out there, play a great game against them, and then obviously another great game against Garden City, and kind of run through that region. Just talk about being that team that probably is, of the 4 teams there, kind of the surprise team in San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, it is, surprising being here. One of the things we don't really shy away from that, is we know we have the best player in the state, and we have some really good guys around him. And I think, something I'm always told by my father, who's my assistant coach, and people have told him, when you got the best guy on the floor, I mean, chances are, you're going to win some games. You have to win those games, and I think we've done a good job, making things comfortable for him and getting the guys around him going late here in the season, finally getting over 20 games. We really put it together, in the playoffs, and I couldn't even tell you. I think we beat 4, 5, so we want to add, 1, 2, or 3, to that list too, where we, as we play.
Um, Coach Bleiker, this is your fourth trip down there. You've been there with Jayton 3 times. You've taken Rule there back in '08. You're a veteran. You've been there so many times. This is Coach Rigdon's first trip. It's his second year of coaching. This is his first trip down there. If you're going to throw some unsolicited advice towards Benjamin and the guys there and their first trip, what advice would you give them?
Well, I just remember our first year with Rule, it was still on the drum, and we were just so preoccupied with winning and winning and winning that I didn't even really enjoy the trip. And that kind of, like I said earlier, that's the biggest change in me is we made it to state early in my career, and then we had some not so good teams, and you kind of appreciate things more when you've gone through some of those rough patches. And we went through some rough patches after Rule and at my first couple of years at Jayton. So the one thing I wish I'd have done is enjoyed that first trip a little bit more and really taken in a lot of really, really good coaches have never been in the state tournament. And I wish I would have just taken it in a little bit more and enjoyed the moment a little bit more than I did instead of just, super focused on just winning the game.
Coach Rigdon, what's been your approach and your first trip down there so far?
We haven't really tried to, reinvent the wheel on the successes of our season. As I said before, we know what kind of players we have, what kind of coaching staff we have. We've just focused on just being us, being Benjamin. We're not trying to be a Jayton, even though I wish it'd be nice to be more like a team like that. We're not really intimidated by anybody here. Our road to get here was nothing but 1 seeds and nothing but high ranked teams the whole way. We're just having fun, like I was telling people before, playing NCAA in the hotel room and cracking jokes with the guys. And we don't have a lot of, sentimental speeches of, we're going to enjoy our time and we're going to go out there and try to get a win. Everything we talk about is just win, win, win. And, number 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter. We're always talking about winning. And, we've made no plans for Saturday. So I hope that everything works out and we get there.
All right, Coach Bleiker, looking ahead to Thursday, once you get to this point, you're going to be playing a tough game against a really, really good team, and that will be the case this week against McMullen County, a team that I think probably a lot of people in Region 4 expected to be here as well. So what are some of your thoughts on this semifinal opponent?
Yeah, they're just really well coached. What they do with their 5 out and their dribble drive, and they do go with a post, but they do things really, really well. And basketball only school, you can tell they're a basketball only school. Their defense is attacking and really tries to trap and cause chaos and things like that. It'll be a big test for us, and we're excited about the opportunity to go play them.
And Coach Rigdon, obviously, y'all have a big opportunity ahead of y'all as well against the defending state champions in Grayford, a team that has some guys that really create matchup problems. When you talk about a 6'8" post at any level of high school, but particularly at 1A. Just what are your thoughts on this Grayford team from what you've seen, and kind of what are your expectations?
No, I think they're really good. I mean, they're deserving of that ranking. I think our biggest advantage, we don't have a 6'8" post, and we don't have returning all-state tournament players. We don't have players that kind of experience. But I mean, I think just a saying that comes to mind is, playing with house money. I mean, Grafford has to make it to the state tournament. Grafford has to, Grayford, how you say it. I'm sorry, I'm not from that part of Texas, but they have to go 35-3. They have to play, 30 plus games a year, and they make it this far. If they don't, it's considered a failure. There's so much pressure, being a Jackrabbit and being part of that program and being a player. With us until this year, Benjamin basketball never made it past the second round. Their biggest, stress factor was, hey, make sure or try to beat Monday, once every couple of years. Try to beat Knox City when you play them. And we blew all those teams out. Hey, try to beat Eula when you get that second round matchup. was a 40-point win for us. We have absolutely no pressure. We've gone to every single game, you know, after timeouts are called or maybe after the announcements are made and we're going to tip off. And other teams are just shoulders tight, clenching their fists and they're so ready to go. And we're just, making a little face at each other, trying to get people to laugh while they're shooting free throws. Like we're just such a goofy, laid back team. But at the same time, we just take everything, so to heart competitively. I kind of feel I don't feel bad for Grafford because they're winning state and they're so accomplished and they're so stinking good. But I mean, I don't envy them the position they're in this tournament because we're coming in, hot, and we're not scared to take any shots. We're not scared of being down. We're not scared of being tied. We have everything to gain from this tournament and absolutely nothing to lose.
Coach Bleiker, I was really impressed with the team defense up there at the regional tournament, and it seems to me that you guys are peaking at the right time defensively. That's exactly what you guys want up in Jayton.
Yeah, we've kind of built our program around that, around our defense, and just every year, year in, year out. The talent will come. You'll have some kids come and go, more talented than the others, but defense is really what's got us to the state tournament the past two times. And really at Rule, what's what got us to the state tournament too is defense. So we're just big believers in it, and it did take a little bit because we're playing so many freshmen. It did take just a little bit for it to come together, but it's really come together in the playoffs, and it's been fun. There was moments earlier in the year I didn't know if it's ever come together, but it really has started to, and it's been fun to watch, especially on Saturday. That was probably as good as we played all year on Saturday.
And Coach Rigdon, this is obviously a family affair for you. You got a bench full of Rigdons. You got a baby girl that makes appearances during post game interviews. Just what's this been like being able to enjoy this with your family?
It's been great. I'm so close to all my family and being in the state of Texas and coaching, everything is, heightened to a certain level of, it's everything's so important and, family's important also. So you just feel like your whole world is revolving around your basketball season, your school, and everyone cares about it. Everyone's, riding with the Mustangs and it's just such a great feeling. And to ride it all the way out the state, I can't get enough of it. The attention these kids get, the attention that, I hope they keep receiving because they're hardworking kids and just absolutely love, being at Benjamin, being around them.
This question's for both of you, and obviously you guys don't want to take anything for granted. You both have very difficult opponents ahead of you. You have to take care of business and win. But just to speculate, how cool would it be to have an all big country state championship game? That'd be pretty sweet. We'll go ahead and start with Coach Rigdon first on that one.
Yeah, I think it'd be sweet because I mean, number one, um, like I said, being big country, but also means we, won our first game against number one team in the state. I personally think Jayton, all year, I thought they were number one team. That's something we always, talk about at our school, them being so close, we have an eye on them more than other teams. But I think it would be really cool because all year we've seen so many great coaches, all through playoffs, try to give us different defensive matchups, try to stop our guy, our number one guy, which is my brother Grayson, and so many different ways we've had to out scheme, make our team better. And so I would just love to see how coach would, try to match him up and try to play defense on him. I think it would be the ultimate challenge. I think if there's anyone out there that can give, the best way to stop him and stop our run, it would probably be him, and he'd present the best challenge.
Yeah, I don't know if we. I don't know about that. I don't know if we can scheme anything together or not. But I appreciate the nice words. I don't know if anybody can scheme anything together for that. But I think it'd be fun. Usually in the finals, you'll see two basketball only schools. You'll see some East Texas, South Texas, or the Fort Worth area basketball only schools like Grayford and things like that. So it would be really fun. And I know we're on the borderline between Region One and Region Two. We've been Region Two in the past, Region One this year. So I think it'd be really fun. Not only that, but two schools that do play football and do everything. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we'd scheme or do anything like that at all. But it would be fun, and it'd be very different. It'd be nice to keep it in our area for sure.
And Coach Rigdon, you touched on this, and obviously Grayson is such a huge part of what y'all do, and an outstanding player that just contributes in so many different areas. But watching your team, y'all do have a whole lot of guys that really play their roles very well and have gotten better as the season's gone along. Just talk about getting contributions from players other than Grayson, and major contributions from those guys during your playoff run.
Yes, sir. They're just so unselfish. I mean, they are just the most mature, smart, unselfish kids who sit there. I don't know any other kids in the state that will sit back and watch someone, capable like Grayson take the shots he takes, hit the shots, command that offense and go, hey, I can grab 10 to 15 boards a game. I can dish out 10 assists. When my time comes to shoot the ball, I will shoot the ball. I will set screens. I'll take charges. I mean, they just pretty much said, I'm no less of an athlete. I'm no less of a player, but my contribution on the court is going to be, it wins us games. And dang right, Grayson had, I think, almost 80 combined points in the tournament, but no one talks about absolutely demolishing, teams on the glass, teams that are way bigger than us. We don't have a guy over 6 foot that plays regular minutes. We do have a guy come off the bench that'll play sparingly, and we just dominated, 6 foot and plus on the glass. And it just comes from our guys. They sit there and go, "Hey, I'm not a 40-point scorer. I'm not going to make the front page of the newspaper, but I'm gonna absolutely ride or die for Benjamin Mustangs." And the maturity and just the selflessness of that, I can't stress enough. They get celebrated on the team. They get called out for their success on the team. Might not always in the paper, but they definitely do here, and we celebrate them like crazy.
Coach Bleiker, obviously your trips go back. You mentioned it, how your trips go back to state to the Irwin Center in Austin, and they've since obviously moved to San Antonio. Just what are your thoughts on the Alamo Dome as a venue for the state championship now that they've moved them out that way?
Well, there's lots of thoughts. I think San Antonio's great. I think it is. I think it would be nice if we could ever get it to a basketball arena, Dickies, Fort Worth, or something like that. But honestly, that's being really picky. The truth is, I'd play a state championship anywhere. I don't care. We'll be happy to play there. And there's a lot of really good things about San Antonio when you play here. If you get around the Riverwalk, and it's a good place for families and stuff like that. And the Alamo Dome does have it has its good qualities as well. It's different than the Irwin Center, but I think the thing that made Austin a little bit different was it was a true basketball arena. And you could go fill that thing up, and you go watch South Oak Cliff or some of those guys play, and that thing was packed, and it was a lot of fun. That's the one side to me inside the Alamo Dome. It's just so big, and it's hard to fill that thing up.
All right, Coach Rigdon. A lot of teams in your position, at the first trip to state, going to a place like the Alamo Dome, would have the deer in the headlights look and be all intimidated. But guess what? You guys have been to Jerry World and won a state championship in football. Most of these kids have already been in a bigger venue. You don't really have that problem, do you?
No, that's what we say all the time. I always tell them, I was like, you guys are so spoiled. You're so spoiled. You've eaten at the best restaurants. You played in the biggest arenas. I mean, you're so spoiled when it comes to this stuff. But at the same time, they work so hard for it. I mean, they absolutely live it around here, and it's a new regime. Starting with Coach Hayes, our AD, and my brother and father that coach with me. We don't see it as like a hierarchy. We are just always in these kids' lives, and trying to get the best out of them. But no, there's no deer in headlights. I mean, we're not taking this like, hey, we're here. We're better than everybody. We're so good. I don't think we've ever talked like that, but we do know that we're here, and all these kids have ever experienced before is going to the state championship and winning it so far this year. So that's just what they expect right now. And it's just so funny talking to them because they wholeheartedly mean it, and they wholeheartedly are going to go out there and give so much. And it's the easiest coaching job in the world. I don't deserve any praise or awards or anything like that. These kids, by themselves have there's so much, attitude and will to go out there and do it. It makes things really, really easy.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck to both of you. Go out there and win your ball games. Let's have us a big country state championship game on Saturday. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And that was Benjamin, head basketball coach Wes Rigdon, and Jayton, head basketball coach Ryan Bleiker. Two contrasting styles as far as coaching and teams, but they're still down there. There's more than one way to skin a cat. They're both down there.
Yeah, I think all four of these teams that are down there show that. That's, I think, one thing that's kind of neat about this bracket in particular. You got four teams that do things very, very differently, have different strengths, but all four are very good basketball teams. And it's going to be fun how it shakes out. I was really glad we got to talk to Coach Bleiker and Coach Rigdon this week. And I'm excited to see what their teams do. I would absolutely love to see a Benjamin Jayton final. Obviously, a lot has to happen for that to come to pass, but I would absolutely love to see that on Saturday if it does.
All right. And with that, it's about time to wrap up the Big Country Preps Wednesday night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you we've got 3 separate subscription packages here at Big Country Preps. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a 6-month subscription where we knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we've got an annual 12-month subscription where we knock that price down to $3 a month, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage.
We'd also like to remind you that if you ever see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, those are available for purchase. We have photo downloads available for $7, as well as some keepsakes and prints. So make sure you check those out. As you're scrolling through the site, you'll notice pretty quickly that we take a lot of photos from these games that we attend and cover. It's something that we really enjoy doing and something we are very proud of here at BigCountryPreps.com.
All Big Country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.